Guten Tag, WAP. This is Mr. Linegar. Let's make history today as we go over Unit 5, Day 4. We're going to start talking about the early modern period today, and we'll talk about the gunpowder empires and China. So let's get started with our daily punishment. Why are frogs so happy? They eat whatever bugs them. All right, so we're going to talk about the gunpowder empires. The gunpowder empires were Islamic civilizations in the early modern period. They all were originally Turkish. The Ottomans will be Sunni, the Safavid and Mughal will be Shia. They all practice harem politics. They all had problems with the succession. They were all military creations from conquest. They were all kind of autocratic, absolute monarchies. The Ottomans will be founded by Osman the Great. Mehmed II is going to conquer Constantinople in 1453. One of the things that made the Ottomans so legit was their Janissaries. They were the soldiers that fired muskets. The Janissaries were former Christians. The way that worked was the Ottomans practiced a slave system called Deveshirme, where Christians, if they were smart, would become eunuchs and join the government. Some of them would become agricultural slaves, and other ones would become the elite infantry for the Ottoman soldiers, and they'd have the muskets. They become the Janissaries. All of them would convert to Islam. The Ottomans will expand during this time into parts of Eastern Europe and Central Europe, North Africa, Middle East. Suleiman the Magnificent is going to be the height of their power. He gets all the way to Vienna, Austria. In the Ottoman Empire, they're going to have a strong bureaucracy. The vizier was the advisor. They were moderately religiously tolerant. They would allow the religious minority leaders to govern themselves and like to do wedding ceremonies and collect taxes. They would then give it to the Ottoman Sultan. But like if that religious group rebelled, the religious leader would be held responsible. They had the Tamar system, which was economic feudalism. It's going to be different. Like in the Ottoman system, you have the askeri, the soldiers, and the raya, the subjects. And the raya would pay tribute. They would pay taxes to the askeri. So that is kind of like feudalism. It's different from feudalism in that it's not political. The sultan is the one that has full political power. The Ottomans will start a long decline. They will still survive, but they're going to try to reform themselves next unit. The Safavids are going to be a rival of the Ottomans, not the Mughals. They'll be a rival of the Ottomans. They're located in Iran. They'll be a Shia dynasty. They're going to create, under Shah Ismail, they create a new branch of Shia Islam called Twelver Shiism. They believed Shah Ismail claimed to be the long-lost descendant, the Imam from Muhammad. Because remember, Shia believe you have to be related to the Prophet Muhammad. He claimed to be like the spiritual descendant of Muhammad. Shah Abbas the Great will try to modernize the Safavid Empire. He'll make alliances with Europeans, bring muskets with him. There'll be a gunpowder empire. They will fall towards the end of this unit. The Mughals will be founded by Babur, who's going to invade and conquer most of northern India, get rid of the Sultanate of Delhi. A big person to know is Akbar the Great. He's going to do religious tolerance. Some people in India will convert from Hinduism to Islam, especially if you're a woman or an untouchable, you're more likely to convert. Akbar the Great will not tax the Hindus. He'll do state sponsorship of Hindus and Muslims. He'll try to make it a multi-religious state. He'll actually try to create his own religion called the Din-e-Ali, which which tried to combine aspects of Hinduism and Islam. This is not the first time they had tried that. They tried that under the Sultanate of Delhi as well with Sikhism and the Bhakti movement. India is going to be wealthy during this time because of spices, because of textiles. Aurangzeb was descended from Akbar, but he was an extreme Muslim. He's going to get rid of religious tolerance. He's going to destroy Hindu temples. He's going to reintroduce the jizya. There'll be a lot of angry Hindus towards the Mughals after Aurangzeb. Some of those Hindus are going to start to support the European countries that start to come to India, and they'll actually ally with the European countries, specifically England. And at the end of this unit, you'll start to see some European countries, England and Portugal, creating trading posts in India. Let's lastly talk about China. The first Chinese dynasty was the Yuan Dynasty, which is the Mongol Chinese dynasty. They were resented by the Chinese. The Yuan Dynasty got rid of Confucian bureaucracy. It was founded by Kublai Khan. He did not do foot binding. There will be rebellions against him afterwards. Like there was a lot of inflation in China. The emperors after Kublai Khan printed more and more money, which was problematic. There'll be a peasant rebellion, and one of the peasants will form the new dynasty. He was a non-aristocrat, becomes the Chinese emperor, and they'll form the Ming Dynasty. The Ming Dynasty will re-adopt Neo-Confucianism. They'll reintroduce the Confucian bureaucracy. The population will heavily increase under the Ming Dynasty with the tribute of champa rice. Champa rice is rice that grows like 400%, twice flowering, so it grows 200% more. It's also drought resistant. That's going to allow for a population surge in China. China during this time will be actively involved in the Indian Ocean trade on the Silk Road. Although the Silk Road is really starting to die towards this time, the Mongols really kind of spell the death of the Silk Road. The Mongols are going to lead to the spread of new technology to Europe. The Europeans will get things like naval technology, gunpowder, the printing press, and the Europeans and later other civilizations are going to start to switch to sea-based trade. The Silk Road will still be around, but it's not as big of a deal. The Chinese under the Ming will offer and support voyages to explore parts of Africa and the Middle East. This was led by the Chinese eunuch Zheng He, also known as Cheng Ho. Eventually, Zheng He's court enemies will get the emperor to stop the voyages. China's going to become more xenophobic. They're going to think that they're the Middle Kingdom. They're the center of the world. There's nothing they have to learn from the barbarians. They're going to start to become more isolationist. They will trade, but they'll only trade in silver. They will fall to another Chinese dynasty, which we'll talk about next unit. They'll fall to the Manchu, the Qing Dynasty. The Ming Dynasty was very wealthy, but what you're seeing at the very end of this unit is the Ming Dynasty is going to start to fall behind technologically and economically. And when they start to have conflict with the Europeans, it will be problematic. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. Until next time, deuces, deuces, yeah.